Hey, what's happening everybody? Vegetarian Zombie here at Learn, Create, Play, and we are back at Astroneer. At this point, if you've been following my series, you should feel pretty comfortable with the game, or at least be able to move yourself around and manipulate things without issues. You just started crafting and you've used both compound and resin. It's time to add some other materials to the list. Now, before we dive in, if you like this Astroneer content, give that subscribe button a press. And hey, if you like this video, click that like button. It will help the channel to do so, and it helps me decide what kind of content to make. After all, I make this stuff for you, so let me know. Okay, let's get started. Open up your research menu. Open up your medium menu and scroll down to the vehicle listing. It'd be nice to create a tractor and some trailers to do some long-range reconnaissance. Press the right D-pad to scroll over to the tractor. It's locked and requires 1,000 bytes. You've already learned how to research meatballs, but there are other methods of acquiring bytes. First, head on back to our landing pad. We've completed a lot of quests, and some of those quests hand out bytes. We also get a ton of crap. Cache all of them in. Next, head out in any direction. Don't forget to drop tethers. Eventually, you'll arrive at nubs that look like traffic cones. These can be researched on the fly. Simply move the cursor over them, then press the Y button to scan them. You'll get a few bytes. There's usually a cluster of them, so make sure you get every one. You can also find more items in the forest. Keep your eyes focused on the ground, and you should be able to see these white-looking watermelon things. Scan them for more bytes. At this point, I have plenty of bytes, so let's unlock the tractor. Now to build it. It requires 2 aluminum. This is a new material, and you'll discover you can't find it directly. You need to refine it. At the time of this recording, there are 15 different types of materials known as natural resources. You've already encountered resin, compound, and organic, so there are 12 others. What you're looking for is laterite, which can be refined into aluminum. How do I know this? Well, believe it or not, Astroneer does contain some reference materials. Click on the Options button on your controller to bring up all the settings. Press the bumper to navigate to the Astropedia. Like all things in Astroneer, this is light on details. Scroll down to the resources and select it. Here you'll see a listing of all the various natural resources. Then move to the next page by clicking on the left stick or pressing the right bumper. You'll see all the refined resources. One thing to keep in mind that in Astroneer there are many different planets that contain different resources. Some resources can be found only on certain planets. Click on the B button to back out of this menu, and then select the planet's option. It starts by showing Silva. This is our starting planet. It lists all the notable resources and gases which you'll use later. Scroll through the list and you'll see all the types of planets and their various resources. The interesting thing about this game is that planet hopping is a mid-game activity and doesn't require a lot of resources as opposed to a late-game activity, so you'll be flying soon enough. That said, we should learn how to drive before we learn how to fly. Open up your research menu and open up the large category. Scroll through the listings until you find a smelting furnace. That's what we'll use to do our refining. If you don't have enough bytes, go scavenging for bytes. It only costs 250 bytes, so it shouldn't take long. Once you have the bytes, unlock this recipe. To build it, it requires 2 resin and 1 compound. Now, if you are having problems finding this listing in the printer directory, the directory contains a column and a row with blue circles indicating unlocked recipes. Just press up and down to cycle through the recipe types, and left and right to cycle through the unlocked recipes. Okay, while the smelter is being built, unpack a large platform. You should have received one for free by completing a quest. With your platform set, make sure to plug it in. Once your furnace is done, put it on top of the platform. Okay, for aluminum, we need to get laterite, and that's found in caves. Here's where the fun begins. Before you go caving, you should collect a bunch of compound. This is for you to create tethers. You're going to be burning through tethers, so collect as much compound as you can. Okay, once you have that all set up, pick a direction and walk. It shouldn't take long for you to find a cave. You can also choose to dig down as well. On your way down the cave, make sure to place tethers. If you run into a dead end, break out your terrain manipulator and keep digging. Always dig at a slight decline, as you'll need to be able to climb back out. Like Minecraft, never dig directly underneath your feet, unless you don't plan on living long. But you already knew that, right? And look at that. I immediately run into the resource, which never happens. But notice I'm at a steep drop. The fall might not kill you, but you'll break your connection to your tether, in which case you'll need to find a way up as fast as possible. Caves can be quite elaborate, so your tethers will act as guides back to the surface. Oftentimes you'll find these cache boxes. To open these, you need to solve a little riddle. In this case, I need to provide the resource printed on the exterior. You can find out the resource by opening up your Astroneer resource guide. Each resource has its own icon. For this cache, the symbol matches laterite, the very thing that we came down here for. Add the resource to the attachment point and the cache opens. Mind you, this will consume the resource. Sometimes the cache top doesn't really pop off. In such a case, you can just pick it up and move it aside. And look at that, more research points. I'm going to keep going, and there I find another resource. It's sphalerite. I think I'm pronouncing that right, or maybe not, who cares. I'll just grab some for refinement. As you progress through caves, you'll find lots of different resources. Just be careful, as caves can be quite elaborate, and they go very deep. In fact, to obtain copper, you pretty much need to go as low as possible, which can take a long time. You may also find fauna that actually tries to kill you. If so, just dig underneath it. You'll uproot it, and it will die. When you obtain all your resources, head back to the surface. Remember, we need 2 aluminum, so make sure you leave with at least 2 laterite. Back at the furnace, place your laterite in the holders. Once you have the resources in place, start the smelter. If it doesn't, check the power situation. You may need to add some generators to use it, as it requires a lot of power. When it's done refining, collect the aluminum. Now head on over to your small printer and build your tractor. Look at that, you have a new set of wheels. Unpack it near an outlet, then plug it in. The tractor runs off electric power. You can see the gauge on the side of the tractor. Once fully charged, jump on board and take it around the block. You'll notice that you don't lose oxygen, but the tractor likes to consume power, so we'll need to solve that problem. But don't worry, we'll handle this in another episode. If you found this video useful, please give it a like. If you are interested in more videos, definitely subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.